Hey friends, it's Sweet Melissa. It is Friday, March 19th, 2021. Come along with me as I talk to one of my artist friends. Let's find out what he's all about and what kind of cool art he makes. Okay friends, we're here with my friend David as we start this new series about artists that are my friends and conversations about their art. So David and I met, I think probably 5 years ago now.
Probably. Yeah,
We are at Frog Creek, and this is David's winter home as it is mine. And we just love you and Ansley so much and think of you so dearly. So when I thought of this idea of talking to my artist friends, you of course were my first friend to talk to.
Well, you guys have done so much for me for my art, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, it's mutual kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
All right.
And Eric doing my website,
yeah,
it's just a wonderful thing, you know.
EP does his website, and we'll talk about that link and attach a link somehow. I'll figure out how to do that. But so we start the question is, who are you and where are you from?
Well, my name is David Pollock. I grew up in Biddeford, Maine. I now live in Fayette, Maine, and I'm just real happy to live here, out in the boonies.
And you live in what kind of house do you live in?
Well, I live in a tiny house.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty. Simplicity is a big thing in my life, and the simpler I get things, the better I like them. You know.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
Totally. Tell us what type of art you do.
Well, I'm a wood carver. I've been carving wood full time for 41 years.
Wow, 41 years?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, a lot of that time was spent doing production work. You know, cooking utensils, back scratches, that kind of thing. But it all added up to helping my technique a lot.
Oh, so, right on.
Yeah, so I don't mind having done a lot of that kind of work.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Were you ever influenced by other woodworking or wood turning or other type of artists in that field of wood art?
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten a lot from so many other artists. A little here, a little there. A few times somebody said, "Oh, you should be trying to use this tool."
Oh, right.
And it revolutionized my ability to carve. You know, just
cool.
things that show up like that.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty much self-taught, so that I get it where I can.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Is there anyone, like a name of an artist that's well known that's influenced you with your woodworking?
There's a couple of artists. I'm sure that. There've been a million of them.
Right on.
to be honest with you, you know, people might look at my work and think that I was really influenced by Georgia O'Keeffe.
Oh, right on. Yes.
You know, and I'm not so sure that I was influenced by her so much as that we see the world in the same way.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I just, her work is very simple, very elegant, and that's what I kind of shoot for.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know, so.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to get into woodworking?
Well, when I was in my early 30s, I basically got fired from Human Services.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was a child protective worker.
Oh, right. Yeah, you did say that had to be a hard job.
It was. And I was burnt out from it, and they got rid of me, and they should have.
Well,
you know, no hard feelings, man.
When it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah.
And you know, all things start and all things end.
Right.
So it was your time to end that job, and well, I'm really glad
That's what
that
they
you
thought.
did.
I then said, okay, well, what do I do next?
Right.
You know, and I said, well, why don't you do what you always wanted to do, which is carve wood?
Right.
So I, you know, my job was gone. I had $25,000 in the bank, and I used it all to let myself teach myself how to carve.
Give yourself that experience.
Give myself that experience.
Yeah.
And been doing it ever since, and primarily making a living at it. I really tried. There was a point in my life where I really wanted to help people, and
Yeah,
that's
right.
why I got into social work. You know, but it probably really wasn't what I was going to do.
Okay.
And I feel like, you know, Maslow, Abraham Maslow wrote this thing. One of his theories, that is, was, you know, that people become self-actualized, that they, if they've really been true to who they were supposed to be, that they get to the point of being self-actualized, is what he called it. And I feel like I've gotten there.
That's amazing.
And you know, it's like, I mean, because that's what I think ultimately I'm good at. You know, so I should just keep doing what I'm good at this point in my life.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, and it comes from your soul, and that is just.
Well, yeah. Well, apparently.
Apparently.
Although I've had 3 days off,
Oh.
and I'm going like, you really like carving this stuff?
Oh, really wild that amount, just 3 days off, makes you question whether you want to do it.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important
Yep.
for all of us as artists, or creatives again,
Right.
to really evaluate, is this something you really want to do?
Yeah.
And why?
Yeah.
And what's your purpose behind it?
Yeah, if you're not passionate about it,
Yeah,
then why not? Why do it?
right.
I mean, I'm 73 years old,
Which I still.
and
He just had a birthday, by the way.
six,
Cheers, Ron.
all right,
Happy
cool.
73. I think
Thanks
they
for the
all
beer.
lie about their age down here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what inspires you with your art?
Wow. I mean, just so many influences. It's hard to.
It's a broad question.
Oh
I know.
yeah, there's been so many things that have kind of like turned me on, or that I've been
A
interested.
little break, and EP joined us. You know he's not going to wave or anything, because you know he is. Say hi, EP.
Hello.
Yeah, there he is, off screen as he likes to be.
Hey, bro.
David's like, come on and join us, EP. So,
Sure, man.
right, the more the merrier. So how did you learn to do this wood carving? Like you said earlier, you got into it kind of, one, out of somewhat of a necessity,
Yeah.
and because you always wanted to try woodworking,
Yeah.
and you started your business doing spoons and kitchen utensils, correct?
Well, not really.
Okay.
The first shot was doing lamps. They were all sculptural, but
Oh,
carved.
okay.
You know.
I don't know about this part of you.
Oh yeah,
The lamp?
yeah. This was like before I started doing flowers.
Okay.
This was like I probably did this for like 9 years.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, I went to my first craft show and had all these really nice wood hangings and expensive stuff. And the one thing that sold was a $15 hand-carved dustpan. Okay, that's what people want.
Yeah, right. Functional.
So I stopped doing these big, you know, artistic pieces because
Yeah. Because no one was buying them.
nobody was buying them.
Yeah.
You know, the better your work gets, the harder it is to find the right place to sell.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know, I'm really feeling like it's. I need the very best places to sell my work.
Well, that is happening in
And
your
it's
life
hard.
too.
It's starting to, maybe.
Yeah,
you know, to some extent.
I think it is.
Starting to somewhat. But,
Okay, so what is your favorite part of the process of what you do?
I like the design, and I like to carve. yeah, I like to take a piece of wood and just kind of do what I want to in it. That's what I really like doing. There's a point in the pieces where you have to glue everything together,
Yeah.
and you know,
No,
people,
that's not your favorite part.
it's not. It's I hate it.
Yeah.
I-
Okay, so that is not your favorite part, but the
Right.
design of it and the carving is.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a lot of stages. A wood carver named David Esterly. I read one of his books, and he said, you know, that at the beginning of a piece of work, you are in charge. You're the master,
Wow.
and at the end, the piece owns you.
Well, that, okay.
And I totally get that,
Yeah.
because there's so much that you have to do to get this thing
Yeah.
right at the end. That
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of an obsessive process what
Yeah.
I do,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. This is probably one of the most important questions. Is cereal soup? This is a
Question?
Zen question.
Oh, is cereal soup?
Is cereal soup?
No.
Yeah, good. Right.
Being a vegan, I mean,
Oh
what
my
can
God,
I say,
that's right. That's totally. What is your favorite tool that you use?
Belt sanders. I get
Oh.
the majority of the work done with belt sanders.
Okay.
Of various types and, you know, abilities, let's say.
Yeah.
I get a lot of my work done with a 1x42 belt sander. And it's all about getting what I'm trying to do. I know where I want to go. I'm looking at how fast can I get the wood off of this thing in the way that I want.
Right.
So it's all about what kind of tool will do it the most efficient.
Okay.
I mean, that's one of the things about my work now is that I've become very efficient. If you look at Bob Ross,
Oh, right.
okay, he goes boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, done, right?
Yeah.
Well, wood is a much slower process, but I'm kind of like the Bob Ross of wood carving.
Okay.
I'm getting to,
Okay,
I mean,
that's
I'm
cool.
really fast.
You've had a few years now, like you said, 40 years.
Only, yeah.
So I imagine there's some kind of like expertise of knowing how to get that shape to happen really quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When EP and I go for our walks,
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes we'll walk past you,
yeah.
and you have your headphones on,
Mhm.
and you'll be in it. You'll be doing your sanding or your drilling,
Mhm.
and every once in a while I think about throwing a stone at you to get your attention, but I'm afraid you might sand your hand off. So I just keep going, and I say a quiet little,
It
"Hello,
depends.
David. Do you think your art has a purpose?
Oh, that's a
Or
really,
does it have to have a purpose?
really good question.
Does it have a purpose? And also, does it have to have a purpose?
Well, I hope not, because I like to carve what I think is elegant, attractive in its own way,
Right.
let's say.
Okay.
I've seen my work pull out some pretty strong emotion from people,
Oh, right on.
but it was never what I tried to put into it, you know? I was just trying to create something that I thought looked like a piece of art.
Right, right.
Or
Something
should
that
be
just
a
came
piece.
from your artist soul, right?
Yeah, yeah, kind of thing. And so, does it have a purpose? I hope that what I do and what I put out to the world will inspire people.
Yeah, right.
Because I think it's somewhat
And that's a
inspirational.
purpose. Okay, David.
Yeah.
When was the last time you took a risk in your art?
Well, probably 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
The whole idea of introducing a lot of color into my work.
I was
Was-
wondering if you were going to mention color.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that is very new for you.
Yeah, it is, and getting used to using, dyes,
Right.
water-soluble dye. Yeah. I mean, I don't consider myself much of a painter. Whatever I do is.
Well, you're doing well with it, I would say, but
Yeah.
I wondered if you were going to say that because I reminded you a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
about our conversation, maybe last year, about adding color to your flowers, and you were like, oh no,
Really?
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, really?
So when I saw you adding color this year, I was like,
Oh.
wow, he really, I felt like you really stepped out of your normal self because
Yeah.
you were very resistant to that idea. It wasn't
Me?
like
What do you mean, me?
It wasn't
resistant?
an,
Me?
it
I'm
wasn't
never
like a bad,
resistant to anything.
it wasn't a bad
What are you
thing.
talking about?
It wasn't a bad thing. What you had said to me is that you really just love how the grains come through.
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
things,
yeah.
Which
Well,
I
I
was
mean,
like, totally get that.
I'm a wood guy,
Right.
you know? And
Right.
so I
So
want the
color-
wood to speak and to totally cover it over.
Yeah.
So what's happened is I've been able to understand something about the water-soluble dyes that I can put it on, and it doesn't necessarily, it doesn't take enough away from the wood
The wood, right.
that you can see the
You
wood.
still see the grain. You can still
Most of the
see
time.
that texture
Yeah,
of some sort, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love your addition to color.
yeah, yeah.
And speaking of color,
Yeah.
what crayon color would you pick out of the box?
Purple.
Purple? Oh, that was really easy for you.
Oh,
What are you doing today with your art that you would never consider doing before? And maybe it's the color, but is there anything else that you're doing that you would have, if like 5 years ago, you would have you wouldn't have been able to look into the crystal ball and see.
I kind of feel like there's this progression that's
Right.
happened in my life.
Uh-huh.
I heard a young kid who became like this music impresario, you know, like sold millions and millions of records and stuff like that. You know, and he said, it's just kind of like from my childhood on, it's always kind of been going along in that direction. And I finally got there. Well, you know, like I'm a million miles from this, quote, success that this kid has. But it's kind of like, I feel like the same thing. I feel like I've progressed over my life
Right.
to, you know, pick up skills. It's all been to get there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like every year, do you feel like you pick up something new that you're like, wow,
Every day I pick
wouldn't
up
have
something
known
new.
that.
Always learning.
Every
Right,
day.
right.
Every day.
What is your fondest art memory?
Finger painting as a kid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I love finger painting. I'm a finger painting kind of guy. I'm an impressionist. I'm, you know,
Right.
get into it kind of, you know.
That's great. What do you do to keep creative and motivated to make your art? And maybe that's an interesting question because of what you said earlier about questioning your desire to be creative after 3 days of not being creative.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that motivates me the most is not just to be able to do the work, but to be able to make a living and a good living.
Yeah, right.
Because I think it's only fair. And David Estley that I quoted before, another thing that he said, he quoted somebody else saying, the carvers were starvers.
Ooh.
And I'm like, yeah? Okay, watch me.
Yeah, those are always
Okay.
kind of fighting words for me too.
Yeah.
When you say you can't succeed, you can't thrive, doing your heart's desire,
Yeah.
that, for some of us stubborn artists, that's, we're
You in
just
trouble, buddy.
stubborn people in general.
There is a
Those are
competitive
fighting
nature
words.
to us,
Yeah,
isn't
those
there?
are fighting words,
Yeah, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I can really appreciate that a
Yep.
lot.
Yep.
What life lesson do you think your art teaches you?
Yeah.
What-
Well, the life lesson I think that I'm getting most recently from it is that it's fun when I just do it for fun, and when I make it a job, it sucks.
It becomes a different thing.
Yeah.
Right.
My work has so many different facets to it that I can be working on 5 pieces at the same time and yet go from one thing to the next to the
Right.
next, you know, depending on how I'm feeling
Right
during
on,
the day,
right.
you know.
Right, which
So-
is kind of cool that you have those different components
Yeah.
Like if you really need a break from grinding,
Yeah, yeah.
that you can go to the dreaded gluing,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Since you hate
in
the
small
gluing,
measures.
Yeah. It's,
When you have to.
what is the one thing in life you can't live without?
I was going to say that.
Ansley
The Tootsie
Dude's Mate
Pie.
has just joined us. I thought maybe he may say that because I know you guys are such love bugs.
Yeah,
Is that your answer? I know it's really important to have a good, as an artist especially,
Yeah.
to have a good support
Of course.
in your mate or a good support team.
Yeah.
You know, to
Yeah.
remind you that you're worthy when you're being turned away from a show. Yeah, you don't want to mess with Ansley because Ansley is
The boss.
the dearest, but she is the boss. That's why we love her. So Ansley would be your answer?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
What advice would you give a young artist that's just starting out, especially in your field
Yeah.
of art?
I would say that if you're going to do it, you got to do it.
Right.
I would say
No
that
halfway, no hobby.
no hobby. You either jump in and do it,
Yeah.
or you don't.
Right.
You make it work, or you don't.
What, if any, injuries have you had from your art making? I've sewed through my
I've been
fingers.
injured when people come close to buying a piece and change their mind. That's about the biggest
That's your
injury
biggest
I've ever
injury
gotten.
to you. Yeah. Did you ever injure a finger or anything like that? Have you?
I've seen
Yeah.
bandages all over them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I occasionally do see a band-aid.
Yeah. What do you mean? So yeah, I've cut this finger on a oh man, on a big saw. I've chopped these fingers with a table saw,
Oh, wow.
and my left thumb is really pretty bad from having to hold things all the
Oh,
time.
right on, right on.
You know, you got to hold them to carve them. You know?
Right, right.
And I've developed many new ways to do that, so that I don't continue to hurt myself.
Right.
But it got to that pretty bad place. Yeah.
What's your most proudest piece of art that you've ever made? What
Dance
was
of
it?
the Ladies.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Show it at Smithsonian.
Oh my God, right. So David has been invited to the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C.
Yep. You know.
In October. Of course, he was supposed to go back last year, 2020. Your show was supposed to happen.
Yep.
And COVID, of course, ruined that, like
Yep.
it ruined everything else. But if you have time, you guys need to go to this show. If you're in the area, you do not want to miss it. I will put up the dates and everything for your show and your website because your work is amazing. And I have one more question.
Sure.
Before I ask the last question, do you have any questions, EP?
Just the one I told you.
Did I ask it?
What's that?
What was the question?
No, about injuries, you said that one. Oh, the other one, how do you know when a piece is done?
Oh, right.
When do you walk
when do
away
you
and
know?
say,
Yeah, when
enough?
do you know when you're done with a piece?
That's always a tough thing
That's a
sometimes, to know
very
when to
good
stop
question.
messing with something.
Thanks
That-
for your input,
That's
EP.
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
Guess when I'm ready for somebody to see it. I mean,
Oh.
like to put it out to the public and say, okay, this piece is done. Boom, here it is. And I've got pieces that I've put away in boxes and it ain't quite right yet.
Oh, yeah,
happy
right,
with it.
right.
And that I did down here last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's just stuff that I've got to figure out about it. There's something wrong about it in my
In your
In my
heart,
opinion.
in your place of being a
it's just-
creator.
It ain't right.
Okay, my last question before we go take a peep at some of his amazing artwork. What's your favorite type of chocolate? This is the most important question.
Dark.
Dark chocolate. Do you have you have a favorite brand. Don't say Hershey's, or we will not talking.
I know. Whatever you got.
Oh, right, chocolate. Whatever chocolate I have to give you is your favorite chocolate.
It's all cool.
That's awesome. All right, David. Let me grab my camera.
Okay.
And we're gonna go check out your equipment.
Yeah.
And your couple pieces of art. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Cool.
All right, friends. Come on along.
So basically, you know, I start with some kind of wood, and from that I use this bandsaw, and I might cut, for instance, a piece of wood, a little thing like this, and which I've kind of already designed. I knew what that profile was going to be,
right?
And then I will kind of draw on here the other dimension of the bandsaw. Normally do is I put a handle in it because it's much easier on my hands.
Oh, yeah.
Than holding this piece. If I can just hold something
Right.
in the palm of my hand.
So then your thumb gets a little bit of a break. Okay.
Or I'll go over to this pneumatic sander here. I kind of know where I'm going with it.
All right.
In my head.
Yep.
So to be efficient, I want to really try to use what's the most efficient tool I can use to remove the wood.
Right.
So in this case, let's say it's the pneumatic sander. I have a pretty predetermined idea of what I want this contour to be.
All right.
And then I'll come over here, and sometimes it's just pretty much hit or miss. I've kind of got a formula for how I go around a pedal or a leaf.
Oh, right on.
So then I'll go back and as efficiently as possible remove all of the wood that comes up to that point. This is kind of the edge of a pedal.
Wow, you did that so fast.
Very quick.
Yeah.
Now that I know what I'm doing. Okay, and so the next thing is to decide on, let's say that this is the front of the piece. Decide what I want this to look like.
Right.
So now I'm going to take out wood in some places, not take it out in other places, and kind of play around.
Give it some
with
depth and some curves and all that stuff.
And some motion. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So this is kind of the edge of where the pedal's going to go. This is what I like the front to look like. And I want it to look like this. I want there to be an indentation here.
Right.
Okay, so now at that point, I'll come over to this one, and I can be a lot finer with what I take off. So since if I know that this is going to be a raised area here, anything beyond this line is extra. So I want to get rid of it.
Oh, got you.
Okay.
These kind of guys get more intricate into sanding and really finding the fine lines of your stuff that you're doing.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
All right, cool. So David's putting on his gear, his headphones, and he's going to sit down. This is where I always see David, and he's usually sitting here, and he is doing more precision cutting with these tools. Friends, this is one of David's amazing flowers that he makes out of wood. Oh my God, it is stunning. Wow. That is amazing. So that is all made from wood. I wanted to ask you, hardwoods, okay. And I see your painting board, and you're working with these new watercolors, right?
Well, you know, this is like an example of some of the stuff. It's actually a water-soluble dye,
Okay.
and you know, it's just real fun because you can work over and
Right.
over and not really hide the grain of the wood.
Oh, right on.
So it's very malleable kind of, you know, kind of stuff to work with.
Yeah, and it's just about getting used to how to manipulate it, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Or move it and groove it.
Yep.
Wow, the colors are
Most
the
of it
colors
is-
you are getting are amazing, and the
Most
depth
of
of
this is
colors
all
are
in,
super cool.
in tiger maple and also ash.
Okay.
I like to use ash a lot. It's a very light colored wood, and so you know, when you dye it, you can actually get the color you want.
Oh, that is so cool. And it's amazing how thin you can get everything. Here are a few more samples of the beautiful work David makes. Thanks again, David, for joining me and letting me share a beer with you as we talked about your art. It is amazing, and I appreciate it so much, and I appreciate you too.
You're welcome. Thanks. It was a great afternoon.
Yes.
And in truth, it was actually sharing 2 beers.
Well, okay, or maybe more. We won't get into that. Thanks for joining me today, friends. That was a really cool look into the creative mind of my friend David and what he can do with these amazing tools and his vision that he gets when he sees this simple piece of wood. It's really cool. So, okay, friends, till next time. Thanks for watching today, friends. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hope to see you again next time. Have a great day. Bye.